Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, please email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Email me for pricing, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing a watch that is part of the partnership between Roger Dubuis of Geneva and Pirelli Tire and Rubber of Italy. This is a partnership that's been going since 2017, and the model you're looking at was an edition of 88 pieces with green accents launched in the 2021 model year. This is the Roger Dubuis Excalibur Spider Pirelli. Now, what you've got here is a combination of titanium grade 5 with a highly scratch-resistant diamond-like carbon that's been deposited on top. So we have the titanium that is lighter and harder than steel, and a DLC that is significantly harder even than the underlying titanium. This is a large watch. It's made up mostly of, well, Pirelli rubber, sapphire, titanium, and air. So even though it's 45 millimeters in diameter, it doesn't feel that large. It's 15 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, the total distance across the wrist is 55.5 millimeters. It's got a little bit of a fight, though, to the strap. See how I can't pull it straight down? It flares out a bit. So this watch wears considerably like its rated size. Think 45, 46, and you get the general sense of how this watch fits. Or at least you would think so until you look at it on the wrist and you realize, actually, the further away I move, the better this looks in proportion to the rest of my arm. So if you're looking for something that wears big visually, but fits well ergonomically, you can absolutely wear this giant thing on a wrist of my size, 16 centimeters circumference or larger. So a surprisingly low entry-level size to pull this thing off. And by pull it off, I mean put it on. Now the strap is a lovely thing that's made out of actual Pirelli Motorsports grade rubber. And if you followed Formula One, you know that Pirelli tire grades are coded by colors. That's exactly where this material comes from. Now, there's a couple of replaceable elements here. I'm going to scare you a little bit, and believe me, this is one of the most frightening sights you will see on a watch. But the bezel, the crown shoulder, and the strap all have a release mechanism that allows you to swap between what you see here and included alternates that come with the watch's boxed set. So now this might be a little bit frightening to see, but I assure you it snaps on just as easily as it snaps off. And we'll demonstrate that now. And it's quite easy to disassemble. And if you're wondering why, well, obviously for a pit stop, because during a swap of Pirelli rubber in Formula One or endurance racing, you would change to a different spec or a different set. And you can do that here. There's a little push button on the crown. You press that button and all of a sudden you can pull the crown shoulder off, which is also rubber. We've got these quick release systems so you can quickly and easily swap the straps. Again, all of it in the name of a quick change. Taking a quick look at the strap, you can see that it's textured, it's colored, it's actually coated with a alphanumeric that identifies what tire it specifically came from, which is cool because it adds a sort of authenticity. And then you could see that it's colored and textured on both sides with a contrasting stitch on the top and a lovely tire-like granular surfacing. We also have a double deployant clasp that uses a leaf spring mechanism to snap shut and pop open. This is probably the GNF Chatelet system used by many high-end brands, including Richard Mille, which notably is probably the mark for modern-day Roger Dubuis. If you asked them, what are you shooting for with your watches today? They would say, we want to be the Genevois Richard Mille. And that's exactly what they've become, both in attitude and in spec. Now you can see that all of this is made possible by a quick release lever on the inner face of the strap, and it's just as easy to refit. It's a lot like an automotive seatbelt buckle, more like the kind you see on the street, less like a 5-point buckle that you'd find in a race car, but all the same, the comparison holds. Now, taking a quick look, you can see the case is remarkably nuanced. It has hollows, it has satin, it has polish, it has media blasted surfaces. It's actually triple finished. We have the distinctive Excalibur style bezel here, a set of pointy crown guards. All of this is 50 meters water resistant, so they say surface water exposure only. Now, taking a quick look here, we do have luminescence. This is a sports watch after all. You could see that the hands are luminescent, as are the indices. The watch includes a movement that has been entirely skeletonized with a star-like point of origin at the center of the barrel radiating out. We also have a micro rotor for automatic winding. So let's talk about the tech and the spec. You can see the first and most important thing here, it is Geneva hallmarks. While the watch is very avant-garde, extremely aggressive and forward-looking, the watch does meet the hallowed standards of the Poisson de Genève, and so it features the Geneva seal right on top of the keyless works. Other elements include these hex screw shaped luminescent plots designed to remind you of automotive lug nuts and automotive mechanical fixtures. We have skeletonized bridges that have also been engine turned across their top and beveled on their sides. So the finishing is to a high grade. We also have a use of dark rhodium to give it that cool techno-industrial gray sheen. Now the rotor, which pivots on ceramic bearings, unlubricated, high efficiency, energizes a 60-hour power reserve. And then we have a balance beaten away at 4 hertz, or 28,800 vibrations per hour. And all of this pivots on 35 joules. It is a large movement, properly sized for a big case. The movement is 35.84 millimeters across. So it's always nice to see a company that is a true manufacturer, not just able to build balances and hairsprings and escapements, as Roger Dubuis is, but also to make movements properly sized for their application. And this one is perfectly tailored for the size of the watch. You can also see that the barrel is open, which gives you a sort of informal power reserve as the coil of the mainspring. With some experience, will give you a cue as to how much runtime is left. And then you could follow the drivetrain all the way from the barrel to the escapement, which you could see is beneath the skeletonized bridges interacting with the balance. We'll take the strap off, take a look at the reverse side. Pirelli, a longtime innovator, over 150 years old. Branding the back of this watch, and you can see that the reverse of the watch is much like the front, with dark rhodium, engine turning, skeletonization, and you can see that star motif again on the back of the micro rotor's base, as well as on the back side of the barrel, which you'll notice skeletonized on each side. You can also see the fully open escapement. You can even see the shellac that's used to fit the pallet stones to the anchor. All of it good looking. And you can see those jewel sinks have all been internally beveled, and that the anglage is to a high grade along the sides of each skeletonized bridge and plate component. A lot of fun here, a lot of blue sky thinking, or maybe I should say green. They made different colors, including green, blue, red, and each one was a limited edition of 88 pieces. So while there's more than 88 of this model in the world, there are no more than 88 equipped with each given color. So reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of the green version.